Thanks, Joe. Hi, I'm Punong Guro Roppo, martial arts instructor, tactical trainer, and founder of the Roppo Defense System. Today I'd like to tell you about our new program designed to give teachers and students a means of self-defense in an active shooter situation. This innovative program called Sticks and Stones is appropriately named for the classic children's limerick. And once you understand the concept and strategy of the program, the Sticks and Stones name will make even more sense. Now, as you might imagine, our tactical training clientele has grown in the past few years to include not only our normal military and law enforcement customers, but also corporations, medical facilities, and especially schools and colleges. This is due, of course, to the epidemic increase of mass shootings and stabbings in American schools. If you follow the news, it seems as if there's a new tragedy almost weekly. Students and teachers are being slaughtered. People are frustrated, angry, and downright terrified. And in the wake of these tragedies, a whole host of ideas have been proposed as possible solutions. Everything from stricter gun control laws to arming teachers with firearms. And while we all agree that something needs to be done, no one can seem to agree on what that something is. And while there may not be any perfect solution, in April of 2018, a Western school district took a bold and innovative step toward putting the safety of its students and teachers back where it belongs, in their own hands. The school district purchased more than 600 mini bats, a novelty item, but one that could be used as an effective close-quarter impact weapon in a pinch. The idea was for enough mini bats to be stored in each classroom so that teachers could arm themselves and their students in the event of an active shooter crisis. The story of this mini bat school was almost instantly picked up by national news. And while it didn't necessarily inspire the creation of the Sticks and Stones program, it let us know that the public was finally ready for our groundbreaking system. Well, why do students and teachers need to be armed, you might ask? Isn't that a job for law enforcement? Let's be realistic. There are some police officers out there that are really good at their jobs. However, a fully automatic weapon can fire between 500 and 900 rounds per minute, while the average police response time is in excess of 10 minutes. Coupled with the fact that most 911 calls aren't even placed until an active shooter situation is well underway, I think most people would agree that other than armed on-site resource officers, providing teachers and students with a means of self-preservation is the only viable option. Now I know what you're thinking. What good is a mini bat against a fully automatic firearm? Isn't that just bringing a stick to a gunfight? The answer is this. It all depends on whether the individual with the bat has been properly taught to counter and incapacitate a gun-wielding attacker. If they've had little or no training, the chances of success are highly unlikely. However, if they've undergone an effective yet easily learned training curriculum like our Roppo Defense System Sticks and Stones program, they can not only survive, but actually prevail when confronted by a gun-wielding attacker. In just a single day's training, students can be taught to act as a team and fluidly adapt to a variety of uncertain scenarios. The following clips are just some examples of how the Sticks and Stones program can be used to subdue an active shooter. Now, when people first view the previous video, the most common reaction is, wow, that looks like it could really work. The moves are obviously effective, but also very simple. And while I've never trained in the martial arts, I feel like that's something I could learn and actually pull off. Once people see that the Sticks and Stones program is both effective and simple enough to actually use, the next question is almost always, but how do my team and I possibly get close enough to use these techniques without getting shot? The answer is simple. Cover fire. Cover fire, or suppressive fire as it is sometimes called, is well summarized in the following quote. Suppressive fire is a tactic to reduce casualties to friendly forces and enable them to conduct their immediate mission. For example, Suppressed target will be unable to engage vulnerable forces that are moving without cover. This enables forces to advance to new positions or to close with the enemy. We've all seen TV shows where a police officer yells, "Cover me," to his partner before he takes off running to a better position. He's simply asking his partner to shoot at the bad guy so that the bad guy is forced to duck down and is unable to shoot at him when he exposes himself. While the students and teachers don't have firearms of their own, they can still use several variations of the cover fire concept. Number 1, throwing the bat. The first option is to have some of the students throw their bat. Some of the students can be designated to throw their bats while others retain them so that they have a weapon when they swarm the attacker. Regardless, the Sticks and Stones program techniques will work with a bat or with empty hands. Number 2, the flashlight bat. There are several mini bats on the market that have an extremely bright flashlight housed in the tip or base. Some of these models are in excess of 400 lumens, well beyond the threshold of blinding light, and can be used to temporarily blind the shooter prior to swarming. Number 3, throwing rocks. The last option is where we get the second half of our Sticks and Stones name, and in our opinion, the most effective of the 3. It involves keeping buckets of river rocks on hand to throw for cover fire before swarming with the mini bats. Medium to large size river rocks can be extremely dense and heavy for their size and make formidable throwing weapons. These rocks can do considerable damage on impact and can easily render an attacker unconscious or worse. Combining them with the mini bats also gives the defender both a throwing weapon for cover fire and an impact weapon with which to bludgeon and restrain the attacker. Regardless of the option selected, the outcome is the same. The shooter will be forced to temporarily cower from the projectiles or blinding light that act as a form of makeshift cover fire, buying the teacher and students enough time to swarm the attacker with a far better chance of not being shot. The concepts and techniques of the Roppo Defense System Sticks and Stones program relies on simple, gross motor movements and good old common self-defense. While the chances of success improve exponentially with periodic practice, the basic moves can be easily taught and retained with a single day's training. The strategy used in the Sticks and Stones program is simple enough to employ in a high-stress environment and even makes use of an easy-to-use acronym, MAT. MAT stands for M, muzzle redirection, A, arm control, and T, takedown. After creating a form of cover fire by throwing one or more of the aforementioned objects and swarming as a team, the objective of the first offender to reach the assailant should be to redirect the muzzle of the firearm in the safest possible direction. This can be up, down, or even sideways, depending on the location of the other students and teachers in the vicinity. Number 2, arm control. After one or more of the defenders have successfully redirected the muzzle of the firearm, the priority of the next closest defender should be to gain control of the assailant's arms. In the Sticks and Stones program, this is easily achieved by utilizing a technique we like to call WEEP, wrist elbow escort position. What makes this hold so effective is that it uses both of the defender's arms against just one of the assailants. The WEEP maneuver can also be done with or without the mini bat. Number 3, takedown. Once both the muzzle and the arms are under control, the next step is to take the assailant to the ground where he can be further subdued and controlled until law enforcement personnel can intervene. A variety of takedown techniques using both the bat and empty hands so that the defender has viable options regardless of position or circumstance. Joint locks and pain compliance techniques are also taught so that a grounded assailant can be easily and thoroughly controlled from a prone position. It's also important to mention that during all 3 phases of the defense, the defender should be both aware and take advantage of any opportunities to repeatedly strike the assailant, preferably with the bat, but also with hands, feet, elbows, knees, etc. If done properly, this will almost always reduce the assailant's resistance and make them more compliant, sometimes rendering them completely unconscious. And while it's important to always look for these striking opportunities, they should not impede or prevent the redirection and control techniques of the MAT strategy. One of the best and most important aspects of the Roppo Defense System Sticks and Stones program is that the techniques it employs were designed to work the same way regardless of the type of firearm or weapon you're confronted with: handguns, shotguns, rifles, knives, etc. The techniques are also the same whether you have a bat or you're forced to fight with empty hands. This tremendously streamlines the system and requires the trainer to learn far fewer techniques to become proficient and confident in their ability to defend themselves. Now, if you're an education professional watching this video, you may be feeling like the Sticks and Stones program could be a good fit for your school. Still, there may be a few remaining hang-ups that are preventing you from completely buying into the idea. You may be concerned that some of the students themselves or their parents may not be comfortable with the strategy. An all-important concept in the world of active shooter management is the rule of run, hide, fight, and always in that order. In all civilian active shooter defense methods, confronting and fighting an armed assailant is always the last resort, and the Sticks and Stones system is no exception. It's also important to note that even if you adopt the program in its entirety, participation in the training and/or the actual crisis is completely elective. There are a few things worse in the world of self-defense than trying to force someone to fight back when they're either not capable or not ready to do so. Students who don't wish to participate can be instructed ahead of time to seek cover and concealment as far as possible from the actual crisis. Another common situation is that school may love the Sticks and Stones program for their faculty, but they're just not yet comfortable with arming their students in any capacity and under any circumstance. With the Sticks and Stones program, this is also not a significant problem due to the fact that as few as 2 or even a single teacher using our system has a greatly improved chance of defending themselves and their students. Even if you feel that the Sticks and Stones system is not the right fit for your district, Roppo Defense Systems and our parent company, Security Specialties Consulting Group, offers a wide variety of defensive, active shooter, active blade, and passive aggressive restraint programs. Whatever you do, don't make the mistake of thinking it can't happen in your school. The worst mistake of all is to sit idly by and do nothing to prepare. In the words of Edmund Burke, the only thing necessary for the triumph of evil is for good men to do nothing. Be proactive and give the students and faculty of your school district a fighting chance. Thanks for watching. This is Punong Guro Dan Roppo saying stay safe and take care.